full of it. Trying to get my situated. Who we got out here in these streets? Say hello to me. Can you hear me okay? I need to know all that good stuff. Here we go. Hey, what's up? We did it. Yes, sis. Yes. That's what's up. How's everybody doing? I am too. I'm excited, sis. I'm excited. Because the great thing is that, even if sisters were like, you know what, I really want to be there, but I'm tired or I got other things to do, I totally understand. The great thing about it is you can come on here and watch it again. So, we're going to let the universe, we're going to let spirit do what she do. Okay. Yes. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. We're going to give it a few minutes, just a couple minutes to let some people fall through. Do y'all got y'all journals though? You got your journal, Andrea? Hey. So if you don't, grab your journal, grab your journal, grab something to drink, grab your new moon, grab your natal chart, and let's get busy. That's what's up. Thank you, sis, for being here. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna get some music. Thank you, girl. You know what I'm saying? I'm stressed out because I was stressed out for that Zoom, but we made it happen. We made it do what it do. So I'm glad you guys are here. Fall on through. We're gonna keep letting some sisters fall on through. Please give us a shout out, a wave. Let us know that you're here. Dr. Andrea lit it up. She letting everybody know she's here. So let us know that you're here. I'm so glad that we figured this out. And let me grab my phone. Actually, I don't even need it because I can do it from. So the first thing we're going to do today or tonight is we're going to start out with a guided meditation. This is a meditation that I've listened to for quite some time, and it's so powerful. And then we're going to go into the astrology, talk about the new moon, talk about our charts and all of that. And then we're going to go into our new moon intentions. And I got to light some sage for us. Let me get the music going. All right, where's the song I really want to play? Get our meditation music queued up. Where is it? Oh, here you go. Yeah. Ha, here we go. Okay, so we ready. All right, we ready to do this. So for anyone who may be watching this who does not know, my name is At Peace Makita. I'm the life doula. That's a term I coined myself. I'm a life coach who takes a doula approach. So I'm a childbirth doula by trade, and I've learned to take those skills and infuse them with life coaching. And it seems to work pretty good. I mean, people seem to really get a lot out of the things that I learned from helping women give birth to how to use those things in everyday life. You know what I'm saying? Woo. So just simple things like breathing properly and visualization and how the physics of our body and how that affects the outcome and so many different things. So I've learned to, like I say, fuse that with life coaching in general, along with my life experience. I've been through some things, I've learned a lot, and people tend to really gravitate towards my life story and things that I've been through, and they're able to learn from them. So I share. One of the things that I started that's very dear to my heart is Sister Sharin. I started it in 2007, living in South Florida, and now I live in Michigan. And it's something that is very dear to me because I really think that us being together as women is the most sacred place we could be. When you really are with a sister, when you really are with a woman who understands this journey of womanhood, it makes life so much easier to kind of like navigate and get through. So I've learned from my own experience, as well as sharing with other women, how important it is that we share in this experience. We being isolated and separate from each other and not talking, really, I mean, you divide to conquer. So if we're not talking and we're not sharing and we're not, doing things together and creating together, then what's going to happen to the world, to our children, to, our mates, to so much, you know what I mean? So it's really important. And I've been able to, see this tribe kind of grow right before my eyes. And it's just been amazing. So tonight, we're going to have, let's see what we got here. C. Morel. Hey, C. Morel. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, we're going to go into the new moon circle. Now, new moon circle is something that we do on Sister Sharin as a group. And it's been happening for several years. And what we do is we come together and we use astrology. We use the tools that we've been given, right? So astrology, tarot, numerology, Reiki, these are all tools to our disposal that we can use to navigate, especially as women, right? It's no secret that women and our physical nature has a lot to do with the moon and just humans in general. Like, let me be clear. All humans are connected energetically to the cycles of the moon. Okay. And that's something that if you're not familiar with it, you can look it up, you can do your research. And so being connected to the moon, it just would make sense to follow the cycles of it. Right. I'm just saying. So that is what a lot of women all over the world do. Every new moon, every full moon, every gibbous moon, every waning moon, waxing moon, there's groups of women who come together and they use that energy, because energy is just transferable. It never dies. It continues to move forward, continues to move on. So they just use that energy collectively to get things done, to really get things done. And if you look at more indigenous cultures, I mean, the village women, they work together, they harvest together, they cook together, they take care of each other's children. They do that so that they can really thrive and survive, right? So that's what Sister Sharin is about. I hope that if you're new to this experience or you're new to my channel, that you will subscribe. Please subscribe and hit the like button, as they say. And that you will continue to be part of this tribe, that you will follow this tribe, that you will become a member of this tribe, and that you too will enjoy the fruits of Sister Sharin, of sharing with your girls, of being together as women. Is really a beautiful thing. All right, so that's my 2 cents. I'm not going to go into any promos or anything right now. Okay, I do have some things that I want to share with you guys later that I'm doing for next month. But for right now, let's go ahead and get started with our meditation for the new moon. So go ahead and get comfortable. I'm going to get the music going for you. Let's see here. Now, before we get started, before I start the music, go ahead and get comfortable. And what do I mean by that? I mean, find a comfortable position within your body, right? Like, I'm not lying flat on the floor. My feet are not flat on the floor, but I am comfortable in my positioning. I've got my feet, my legs crossed. My spine is straight, right? You're going to drop your shoulders back, right? You're going to lift your chin up just a little, okay? And you're going to breathe in through the nose and gently out the mouth. Breathe in the nose and gently out the mouth. Good. Breathe in the nose and out the mouth. Very good. All right. Now, you just want to feel what it feels like to be in your body for a moment. I'm going to take a brief journey for about 4 minutes, maybe 5. And on this journey, the only thing you have to do, the only thing you must do is be. Just be. All right? Be like a tree. You're here, you're present, but you're not reacting to something necessarily or moving at something. You're allowing. You're allowing things to come to you, and then you're allowing them to pass through you. All right? So you're not being complacent. You're not, being out of touch. You're allowing these things to come and then to go. All right. So we have a new moon meditation, a guided new moon meditation that we're about to get off into. So go ahead and get comfortable. Take your cleansing breaths. All right. If your mind starts to wander, bring it back with your breathing. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. All right. And we're just going to allow our thoughts to just go where they need to go. Okay? There's no right, there's no wrong. It just is in this moment while we're meditating. Okay? So we're going to leave the judgments and the criticisms and what we think things should be. We're going to leave those to the wayside for a moment. And we're just going to be. All right? And feel what that feels like. Okay. So here we go. And if you want, you can, I hope you can hear this. Make sure you can hear it. You want to close your eyes or you can keep them open.
You are here for a reason. By prioritizing your healing, you are already healed. Life loves you infinitely and abundantly. Step into your abundance. Imagine yourself already there. You are there. Here. Being right here is the most powerful act. Open up to the expansiveness within you. You are the expansion itself. I dare you to feel the fear and keep going. What happens? The fear disappears. The fear disappears. So grow, 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 and let go, let go, let go. Like a leaf falling from a tree, simply let go. Dare to envision a life that's beyond your current scope. Dare to create a reality that fills you with joy. Dare to live a life full of ease. I dare you. Trust in the magical unfolding of your life. With this new moon, you are reborn. With this new moon, you are reborn. free.
How did that feel? How did that go for you? Did you enjoy it? Are you still in meditation? So as you come back, as you come back, as you come back, I love that meditation. Go ahead and pull out your journals if you have them with you and just do a quick free write. Just write any thoughts that come to you from the meditation. You're just going to write them down. Not going to question them. Just write for a moment. And I'll keep the time for you. Let's do that for 2 minutes, okay? We're going to write in our journal. I'm going to change this music. Okay. Here we go. Okay. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Woo. All right. How are we feeling? Let me know since we can't actually like interact on video like I would love for us to do, like I wanted us to do on Zoom. Go ahead and leave comments and let me know how the meditation was for you. What did you get out of it? For me, pretty dope. Pretty dope. And when I say pretty dope, I mean, what do I mean when I say pretty dope? I mean, just knowing that I'm virtual and I'm able to meditate virtually, with my sisters is pretty dope to me. Like, I don't get to do this very often. So it felt good just being in the presence of all of you, myself, just in the YouTube world, you know. So that was pretty cool. So what we're going to do next is we're going to actually go into the astrology for the new moon. Okay. Now, if we were together physically, I'm telling you, it's so much fun. Make sure this music's not too loud. It's so much fun when we're together because everybody's just feeling and you can hug each other and all of that with everything going on. Y'all know what that's about. But yeah, I'm so glad we can be here together. So let's get into the astrology. All right, so pull out your natal charts, and if you want, you can leave me a comment and let me know where Gemini is in your chart. And while you do that, I'm going to burn some more sage. I burned some earlier, but I burned some more. And I forgot about my chime. Yeah. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm burning some sage. So Gemini, the sign of Gemini. Well, first I'm gonna briefly describe and talk about a new moon. Okay. I don't want to assume that everybody know what a new moon is and the significance and all of that. So, like I described before, the moon is connected to essentially our intuition, our feminine nature, right? And so all humans are connected. That's where the term lunatic comes from. Because when there's a full moon, the crazy come out, right? So that's where the term lunatic comes from. So we're all connected to the moon. And for a new moon, it's super special because you get an opportunity to really set some new intentions, right? It's like starting fresh. You get to start fresh every month, not just, through our menstrual cycle, of course, our body is shedding and cleansing itself, but through our psyche, through our soul's journey, through our hearts, through our minds, we get to renew every month, every 28 days. And so it's really, really important that you may not do a whole lot when it comes to the spiritual realm, but if you can pay attention to nature and if you can pay attention to the moon, the cycles of the moon, it really can help ground you, believe it or not. And so the Gemini new moon is extremely important. It's more important than a lot of the other moons, and I'm gonna tell you why in a moment. Where did I do my notes? I had a whole bunch of notes over here. Oh, I know what happened to them. Okay, the dog ate them. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. But so I guess it's meant for me to go off the top of my head then. So that's what I'm gonna have to do. But that's okay. The Gemini new moon is very important because Gemini is about choices. Gemini rules choice. It rules duality. It rules those two sides of us, that twin side. I call it the light and the shadow because every light casts a shadow. So some people call it the good side, the bad side, or the angel, the devil, or however you want to see it. But I call it the light and the shadow, right? Because sometimes you are light and you out here and you, hey, look at me, and I feel good, and that's your soul, right? Soul, sun. But then sometimes even the sun goes behind a cloud or two. Sometimes even the sun, has to back up and give a little shade. And shade, of course, in our society is turned into something negative. But really, shadow is something that's just as necessary, it's just as needed as anything else on the planet, right? It's about that balance and that duality. Left, right, up, down, right? In, out. So there's always this duality going on, this contrast between some people think right, wrong, yes, no, right? There's just always this duality. That's what the universe, that's what this planet is made up of. And so when we're in the energy of Gemini, we actually get an opportunity to stand in the middle and make choices very different from Libra. Now, Libra stands in the middle and is quite indecisive. It's an air sign also, right? It's the brother sign to Gemini. So it's very indecisive, like, oh, I'm not really sure where I want to go, right? But Gemini is all about making those choices. And the thing about Gemini is they're going to make them quick. They're going to make them to the point. Hey, we here for it. You know what I mean? So this new moon is actually a very powerful moon. For one, it's in 2020. Now, if you know anything about numerology and sacred geometry and all of that, this is already a very, very powerful and impactful cycle that we've just entered into, right? And so using that, knowing that this new moon is coupled with a sign that is all about choice, is all about being able to make those decisions, to communicate, to connect, right? Gemini is also about the social circles that we keep, how we socialize. Isn't that ironic, right? So, where is it in your chart? Let me know where Gemini is in your chart. Let's see. Gemini is my north node. Oh my goodness, that's excellent. That's awesome for you, sis. Because Gemini being, oh, I'm sorry, is that a, yes. Gemini, Gemini being your north node is really powerful right now. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the nodes The nodes are the spaces on the axis of the moon, if for a better lack of word. So you have the north and you have the south, right? And so the south governs our past. It governs what we used to do, what we used to be about. The north node is showing us where we're going. It's taking us to that next level of our soul, right? And so because it's north and south, what are they constantly doing? They're in some type of tension, right? They're working together, but in a tense type of way. So when Gemini is in your north node and we're in the season of Gemini right now, that's pretty impactful because now you're in the driver's seat and now you're learning some new things, not just about this new year. No, you're learning some new things, sis, about this new century, this new decade, this whole new cycle that's coming for you in your soul. The next 20-year cycle, 30-year cycle, that type of dynamic, right? So that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. Gemini is also ruled by Mercury, the planet Mercury. And so Mercury handles our communications, our connections, our transportation. It also deals with commerce. You know, Gemini and Mercury making those how are we dealing with our money? How are we making money? Right? And being sociable. That's what makes Gemini. They can relate. Let me tell you something. If you know a Gemini, raise your hand. If you're a Gemini, raise your hand. Gemini people, individuals as a whole, they are so sociable. My dad is Gemini. My older sister is a Gemini. Like my one of my best friends is Gemini. Like Geminis, I have some experience with, and I'm telling you, they are so sociable. They're easy to talk to. They're easy to get along with for the most part. But and that's the light side. The shadow side is a whole other thing. The shadow side is over here doing its own thing, and it's very detachable. It's not really concerned with you or your crew, right? So it used to offend me growing up. Like, well, how can we just, I would literally be in a room with my dad, we'll be having a good time, and then I'll leave to go to the kitchen, come back, and the other twin is sitting there. Like, who knew you were gonna change twins on me, man? Like, so that's the thing about Gemini. They are an air sign. So they go, they move, they shift like the wind, baby. Right? And they're going to go from light to shadow, light to shadow, shadow to light, shadow to light. Nothing wrong with that. Once I learned to accept that we're all like that and that we should all have that freedom and that permission, I was really good with it. I really enjoy being in Gemini energy because it helps you to kind of just go with the flow. Gemini, the sign, is also mutable. And what does mutable mean? A mutable sign is a sign that pretty much is what mutable means. They don't really say much. They don't really say much, in terms of, when I say they don't say much, I mean, as far as their energy will go with the flow. It's not going to say much about it. It's not going to resist much about it. It's going to fold right in to whatever the energy space is for that particular moment, for that particular room, for that particular relationship, for that particular situation. So the mutable signs will do that. And Gemini is a mutable sign. Okay. And so the sociable part of them is very intriguing. It's alluring. It's like, ooh, I want to get to know. Right. But you got to be careful because again, it's detachable. It's air. It's gonna go from here to there. It's out. Right? So yeah, that's what I know. That's what I know to be true about Gemini. Do any of you have comments on what you know to be true about Gemini? Go ahead and share with us. That's why it's called Sister Sharin, because we're all supposed to be sharing together and giving the guidance and wisdom that we all know. So I give it to each other. So yeah, go ahead and leave a comment, light it up. And so while we are contemplating or looking on our chart to see where Gemini is on our chart, let me pull out mine. Where's my chart? Let me see. Pull my chart up. I'm so used to it being right here. Let's see. And the funny thing about the funny thing about our charts, or at least mine, is every time I look at it, it looks different. And I don't mean different like things have changed. Like I learned something different every time. I don't know if you guys feel the same. Okay, so Gemini, Gemini. Ooh, 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 ooh. So Gemini in the 10th house, Gemini in the 12th house, Gemini in the 3rd house, Gemini in the 5th house. What house is your Gemini? I just looked to see where my Gemini was. My Gemini is in the 11th house. So what does that mean? My Gemini, or Gemini is the house of friends. 11th house is the house of friends. 11th house is the house of making those connections with people around you, being sociable, making friendly connections. And it's Gemini is there. So that's pretty cool. Okay. You know what that means for those who aren't necessarily familiar. When you see Gemini in your chart, find out where it is for the house. That house is influenced by Gemini, meaning whatever that house represents is going to have a Gemini influence. So, say for instance, you look on your chart and Gemini is in the first house, let's say. Let's say you are a Gemini. Then your influence, that's pretty easy. I'm not going to do that one. Let's say Gemini is in your 7th house, the house of relationships, right? So that means that your relationships, it's also the house of marriage, those and contracts, like really serious commitments, those type of influences of the 7th house, because Gemini is there, is going to look like Gemini experiences. It's going to be, your relationships will be sociable relationships, or they'll come together um, through sociable means, right? They'll have an airy quality to them because Gemini is an air sign, right? They'll be mutable. So that means your relationships are more mutable, meaning you can kind of go with the flow a whole lot easier than most people, right? So the sign influences the house. All right. So see where Gemini, which house Gemini is in, and that house will tell you how Gemini is going to influence your chart. Okay. Now, in that house where Gemini is at, if you have planets in that house, then um, the planets the planets will also have an influence for that house. Okay. So if you let's say you have Saturn in Gemini in the 7th house. Oh, wow. Then that means your relationships are pretty structured, traditional, because that Saturn influence is there, but that social influence is there too. That ability to switch and move and make choices is there as well. So that's actually probably a pretty nice mix. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's see what you say. Mine is in the 8th house. Okay, so if Gemini's in your 8th house is about other people's stuff, other people's money, other people's problems. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. The 8th house represents other people's stuff, and also represents the house of deep sexuality and sensuality, really going deep within the subconscious or tantric, more deeper erotica, I would guess is how you can put that, the 8th house. So with Gemini, again, it's going to be through sociable connections. You're going to be able to move and flow. When it comes to other people's stuff, you probably aren't going to be as attachable as, say, like a Cancer. If you got Cancer in the 8th house and that's considering other people's stuff, you own it. You are in other people's stuff for real. But Gemini, not so much. You're gonna be there for the person. You're gonna let them know you're there, but not so much. It's not like you got to really be attached like a Cancer would. A Cancer would attach themselves, clink clink, and it's on. But Gemini, not so much. and also with your taxes and stuff. Now, what you have to be careful with the eighth house, it is about taxes. It is about, paying off those debts and things like that. And so Gemini is, because it's so sociable and airy and da 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 da, it's not really always concerned about the practical. So you got to be careful with that, right? You got to make sure that you stay on that part, because it can, just kind of blow with the wind and just say, hey, it's mutable, remember? So if there's something else going on for you concerning other people, then you may not even pay attention necessarily to that more practical part of the eighth house. So make sure you're paying attention to that. Yeah. Okay, let's see. All right. Anybody else? Anyone else? Anyone else? All right, I don't see any other comments right now. All right, so now we're going to go into our journal writing, our affirmations for the new moon, right? And I call them affirmations, or some people call them intentions. Sometimes I call them either one. They're interchangeable to me. But for the new moon, you want to get a journal if you can. That's specifically for your new moon stuff. Okay, so like the meditation that we did, you would write in your journal after you do your meditation for your new moon. You write in your journal those downloads that you got. That's a new energy coming into you, right? Those are new downloads that are coming in from a fresh energy source coming from that new moon flow, right? So write it down, sister. Write it down. Don't miss it, because it will go and it may or may not come back. And you want to make sure you catch it. So write it down in your journal. And then you also want to write down your 10. Yeah, we're going to stretch ourselves today. 10 new moon affirmations, new moon intentions. Okay? 10 of them. And it's okay if you don't have all 10 in this one sitting. All right? New moon energy, full moon energy has a 3-day window. So it's 3 days coming in the energy, you're in the energy, and then it's 3 days coming out of the energy. So if ever you want to do your new moon work, and let's say you can't do it right on the day of the new moon, that's okay. You still got that 3-day window as the energy is flowing out, right? So you can use it. So if you don't have all 10 affirmations or all 10 intentions in this one setting, don't sweat it. Okay, write down what you can. All right, let's see. Well, that makes sense because okay, yeah, you need to watch that, sis. You need to watch that. And you need to like really assess and evaluate what's yours and what's not. Gemini, because they're an air sign, because they're so sociable, because they come off as, your best friend, even though in their minds they're just being themselves. Because of that energy, sometimes lines can get crossed. So you really want to create boundaries, and Gemini is not necessarily the easiest sign to do that with. But if I look at your chart, I can probably see where you can use other energies to complement. But yeah, you need to definitely create some boundaries in that area, because if not, you'll be so sociable and so easygoing and easy to get along with that people will be talking to you and they'll be like, yeah, da, da, da. Oh, I know such and such to do it. And then they'll call you and they'll get into that sociable flow. You're in that sociable flow. Next thing you know, you're agreeing to do some stuff you ain't even plan on doing. Like, how did that happen? And then they're holding you to it at that. So yeah, it's best to just set your boundaries with yourself first, always with yourself first, set those boundaries, and then set them with other people. All right, yes. Okay, so what we're going to write about for our intentions is we're going to really get into the mindset of choice, because that's the theme for this new moon circle tonight, is our choices. How are we making our choices? Where are our choices coming from? Are choices a good thing or a bad thing? And who gets to decide? All right. So I would love to get a dialogue going if we can. If not, that's okay. But let's talk about it. We got 5 people on here. Let's talk about it. What makes choice so important? Is choice important? What is choice? And while we're doing that, while you're getting your questions together and your little comments, because I know you're going to question and comment in a minute. While you're doing that, I'll tell you a story. Okay, then. So, long time ago, A young girl was married, a young woman was married, moi, and it was not necessarily the happiest marriage, right? It really had a lot of things that needed to be healed in the marriage, in the relationship, in us as individuals. We were young. Like, who gets married young? You know, and so in getting married young, you make a lot of mistakes. And that's what we did. We made some mistakes. And the marriage ended in divorce. It didn't end well. Needless to say, a lot of you are familiar with that story already of how my marriage ended with my daughter passing away. And so, the one thing that I realized in that experience, in my healing journey, when I finally was able to get to what made me stay in that marriage, or what is it that I was lacking, or what is it that I didn't understand about myself. And it took a minute. It took a minute for me to get to this revelation, but when I got to it, it changed the game. It changed everything. So I was sitting with the pastors about a week before my daughter. It was the week after my daughter's memorial, or no, it was before. It was a week before my daughter's memorial, and I was sitting in the car with the pastor crying, just crying. And he's like, "Well, what's going on?" He's counseling me, and I'm like, you know, some people are complaining and saying I should do this and saying I should do that and telling me what to do, and it wasn't their baby that died. Who are they to tell me what to do about my child? I'm the grieving mother. Why can't I do what I want to do? I was really in that space, okay? And he was so calm, so gentle, so understanding. And he just sat there. He just let me cry. He let me get it all out. And then he said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And the conflict was, should I bury her? Should I cremate her? And at the time, I didn't want to necessarily be apart from her. And so to me, burying her was like the last thing of taking her away. And I wanted her with me. So cremating her was something that I wanted to do as the mother. But I had certain family members that weren't comfortable with it out of tradition. And so there was this huge, discussion about it. And I was really upset. I was really upset that I couldn't make that choice, and that it was my choice, that I wasn't able to make it, and it just be me and be respected, and that's it. So I was really upset, and didn't know what to do. This was my first major decision where I had to stand on my own 2 feet because I was young and I didn't really know. And he said, "Well, what do you want to do?" I said, "I want to cremate her. I want her with me. I'm not ready to let her go all the way like that. Maybe I'll, get a plot for her later, bury her later, but I want her with me." And he said, "Well, then do that." And I said, "But they'll do this and they'll say that and they'll feel this way and they'll," he said, "and they'll get over it." Honey, when he said that, you talk about a light bulb that came on. You talk about a light just came on. Like, oh my God. Like, that was as easy as it was. That was it. He's like, "Yeah, make your choice, make your decision. They'll get over it." He said, "In 6 months, they won't even be thinking about you or your problem. This won't even be a thing in 6 months." He said, "So go ahead and make your choice, the one that's going to make you happy, the one that you can live with, because you got to live with the choices you make, not them. Go ahead and make that choice. And when you have made a choice that you can be at peace with," and this was long before I ever thought I would change my name when he said that, but he said, "One that you can be at peace with, then that's all you can do. That's what it is." And I said, "What? You mean to tell me this whole time I've been stressing myself out? I've been, thinking the worst because I'm not able to please this person and that person and this one and that one. Are you kidding me?" And then it came to me. Then I realized, you know what? I stayed in that marriage for as long as I did because of the same reason. Afraid to make a choice. Afraid of the outcome of a choice. Afraid that this particular choice or that particular choice, the choice to leave, the choice to stay, the choice to separate, the choice to get counseling, the choice to get a divorce, whatever the choice was, just too afraid to make it. And so that's what your new moon intentions, your new moon affirmations, that's what they're going to be about for this new moon. That's what our new moon intentions and affirmations are going to be about. They're going to be about what new choices do we want to make? What new experiences do we want to have, right? And so that's what we're going to work on tonight. So are you ready? I'm ready. I am ready to do this. Now, if you want to share them, by all means, go ahead and share. But you don't have to. All right. This is just about us being in the space together. So let's see. My journal is almost full, baby. Literally, like I only got one. How many pages I got? No way. That's awesome. That's awesome. I only got 2 pages left in my journal. Been using this mug. All right. So, we are going to start writing out our intentions. And so, if you're not familiar with affirmations, the way affirmations work is this. You start this statement with I am, I will, I can, I must. Okay? And if you can think of any other affirming statement that starts with I, you can use that too. I affirm. That's the 5th one. Right? So you start with that affirmation. I am, I will, I can, I must, I affirm. All right? Now that's one way you can